All right, gang. Moving on with multiplication. If you would be so kind as to turn to page 145 in your GoMath book. That's going to be chapter 3, lesson 2. Relate addition and multiplication. And our I can statement there at the top of the book. I can represent multiplication with equal sized groups and related multiplication and addition sentences. Oh my goodness, that sounds like a lot. But you know what? By the end of this, it's all going to make sense. And I bet you we can even make this less wordy and more concise, which means straight to the point. So let's jump right in and see how we do this. All right, zoom in just a little bit more. There we go. All right, so Tamika needs 3 apples to make 1 loaf of apple bread. Each loaf has the same number of apples. Ooh, that's key right there. That is a key statement right there. All right, each loaf has the same number of apples. How many apples does Tamika need to make 4 loaves? Well, let's see what we can't figure out here. All right, so how many loaves is Tamika making? She's making 4 loaves. How many apples are in each loaf? 3. How can you solve the problem? Well, that's what we're going to figure out. All right. So one way is we're going to just add the equal groups. All right. So we know that she needs to make 4 loaves. So we're going to make 4 circles here. Really, I guess it should have been squares if we're making loaves of bread. I mean, if you're making something that's in a circle, that's not apple bread, that's apple pie. But we'll talk about that later. Let's see if I can't find an apple here so that we can make this pretty unique. Oh, there we go. We'll pull out that apple right there. That's one big apple. It almost looks like a giant cherry, but we'll make it work for us. All right. So we have 3 apples that are in each loaf. All right. So we're going to go ahead and take those 3 apples and put them in the second, and then put them in the third, and then put them in the fourth. All right. Right here it says use the counters. Well, we're not using counters. We're using the actual pictures here. Okay. So what do we have? Well, we have 3 plus another 3 plus another 3 plus another 3. All right. So we have repeated the number 3 4 times. All right. And let me just put that over here to the side. We have repeated the number 3. We have repeated it 4 times. All right. So how many do we have? Well, if we count them up, 3 plus 3, that's 6. And another 3 plus 3 is 6. And 6 plus 6 is 12. All right, so Tamika needs, get rid of that, she needs 12 apples to make 4 loaves of bread. Okay. So that was a really long page. Looking at a rather simple concept that I think most of you are used to seeing. Okay? Let's move on to the next example here, and this would be at the top of the next page, page 146. So at the top of page 146, when you combine equal groups, you multiply to find out how many are in all. Okay, so draw 3 counters in each circle. That's what we did in the last one. So let's just go ahead and see if I can bring my apples back here. And we're gonna basically see the same thing. And with repeated addition, I mean, if you know your multiplication facts, then the repeated addition becomes pretty easy. All right. So when we have this right here, I'm going to go ahead and zoom out just a bit so we can make sure we're seeing everything. All right. Since there's the same number of counters in each circle, you can multiply to find out how many are in all. All right. So how many groupings do we have? All right. Here is a one grouping, and another, and another, and another. All right. That is our factor of 4. How many are in each one? Well, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's what we have right here. And so when we multiply those together, we get the product, 12. All right, so the product is the answer to a multiplication problem. And we would read this 4 times 3 equals 12. So the factors are the numbers multiplied. The product is the answer to a multiplication problem. Okay? So here's what I need you to do. You're going to go ahead and do the show and share part. So go ahead and pause the video and look at the show and share that is at the bottom of page 146 and then continues up to page 147. And then when you're done with that, go ahead and unpause the video and we'll see how you did. All right. I bet you did great. All right, let's take a look at this. Write related addition and multiplication sentences for this model. And let's see what we come up with. All right, how many are in here? We have 5 in there, 5 in here, 5 in here, and 5 in there. 5, 10, 15, and 20. Now we're going to write the multiplication problem. And I guess one way to kind of help us out with this, as I'm looking back, let's do this just kind of as a reminder. This is going to be the number of groups. All right, that's our first number. That's what that number is going to be. And let me go ahead and clean this up a little bit. There we go. So the first number is going to be the number of groups. All right. So how many groups do we have? Well, we've got 1 group, and 2, and 3, and 4. So 4 groups. All right. The next thing that we need to take a closer look at is the number that is in each group. All right, the number that is in each group. So each group has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth. Okay. 4 times 5, that is equal to 20. So that's a great way to kind of memorize this. You might want to write this down. This will be something that will be helpful to you. And let's go on down here. Okay. 3 groups of 6. So we need to draw that out. Draw a quick picture. It might look something like this. Here is one group, and there's 2 groups, and then 3 groups. And what do we have within each of the groups? We have 6. All right, so there's 6 in this one. And 6 in this one. And then 6 in that one right there. So with repeated addition, 6 plus 6 plus 6 gives us 18. Looking at in terms of multiplication, and I'll go ahead and copy these down here for a little bit of help. What's the number of groups? How many groups did we have? Well, we had 1, 2, and 3. How many are in each group? 6. And that gives us 18. All right, 2 groups of 3. 2 groups of 3. So let's go ahead and get 2 groups, 1 and 2. And within each group are 3. Let's do it like this. I think that might fit in there. Ooh, it'll be a tight fit, but we can do it. All right, so there is 3 in that group. And 3 in that group right there. So with repeated addition, that's going to be 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. And that gives us 6. Now, the number of groups. How many groups do we have? We have 2. How many are in each group? That is 3. For a total of 6. All right. That's it. Okay. Refer back to this video with any kind of questions that you might have. And good luck with your assignments.